Scott used to beg me to wear this suit. So did Storm and the Beast.
For those who are not familiar with an Omega level mutant, well, all you really need to know is they're the most powerful type of mutants in the Marvel Universe, and if you're on the wrong team, you should definitely be scared of them. In the recent comics, they were defined as mutants with the X gene, whose abilities have no upper limit. So far, we've only seen a handful of Omega mutants in live-action movies, and they were Jean Grey, Iceman, Magneto, Storm, and Legion. Interestingly, even Professor Xavier, who made a cameo in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, wasn't considered as an Omega-level mutant either, but Cassandra Nova turned the tables with her appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine. Even though she does not make it to Earth 616 in the movie, Cassandra is still part of the MCU's multiverse and counts as an official entry in Phase 5. So who is MCU's new megalomaniac? Simply put, she is Professor Charles Xavier's twin sister, who was killed by her brother while they were still in the womb. To make things a bit more complicated, she is actually a Mumadrai and can be described as a spirit that is the equal and opposite of a person. Now, I don't think I needed to specifically point this out, but given that she spent some time right up next to Xavier, Cassandra Nova went on to become a powerful and twisted villain. Normally, Mumadrai do not have physical forms, but Xavier's insane power made this one an exception. Even though she was killed in the womb, her cells somehow survived, allowing her to grow in a sewer and plot her revenge. Yes, you've heard that right. Cassandra Nova is pretty infamous for some really brutal shit she pulled in the comics, including a massive genocide in Genosha, which X-Men 97 recently touched on. When it comes to her powers, she is a lot like Xavier, who is an extremely powerful telepath. But she also has incredible telekinetic abilities. Club all of this together with her crazy lust for power, and we have one of the scariest villains the MCU has encountered yet. In Deadpool and Wolverine, Nova was shipped to the Void by the TVA right after she was born because they did not want to risk it by allowing her to make an imprint on the Earth. But in this desolate wasteland full of unwanted superhero variants from destroyed worlds, Nova was allowed by the Time Variance Authority to operate freely in the Void. So, she built a community of armed survivors. After building a mutant crew on her own, Nova wanted to dominate the entire Void, so when the Paradox offered to inform her whenever other superhero variants were sent to the Void, Cassandra enslaved them to either feed them to Alioth or to recruit them into her evil mutant crew. Now, Nova's team of mutant minions in Deadpool and Wolverine had quite a few iconic Marvel villains, so inevitably we have had to make a separate video exploring them. So, without wasting another moment, let's get right into it. But before we go into explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Oh my God. Sabertooth, ready to die.
Sabertooth. Turns out, the group of Cassandra's marauders that Johnny Storm first confronted included Wolverine's half-brother, Sabertooth. We have literally waited 24 years for Tyler Mane's Sabertooth to have an epic rematch with his half-brother. For those who do not know, this version of Sabertooth first appeared as an iconic villain from 2000's X-Men. His real name is Victor Creed, and he is a mutant with animal-like abilities. After being banished to the Void by the Time Variance Authority, he joined Cassandra Nova's group of rogue villains. When Sabertooth rides across the desert with the other minions, he encounters Johnny Storm, Deadpool, and an alternate Wolverine who have just arrived in the Void. After recognizing Wolverine, Sabertooth got out of his vehicle and challenged his half-brother to a duel. In this scene, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine takes on Sabertooth solo in an epic fight, and of course, Deadpool could not resist himself from cracking jokes and breaking the fourth wall during his pep talk to Wolverine. He also pointed out that a full-on Sabertooth versus Wolverine fighting in a comic-accurate suit was something the world had been waiting for decades. As both Wade and the audience go crazy over them throwing fists at each other, both charge at one another while screaming at the top of their lungs. When Wolverine quickly decapitates Sabertooth with his adamantium claws, leaving Sabertooth's body at Deadpool's feet, the Merc picks up the severed head and challenges the other marauders, with Wolverine taunting who's next. However, the fight was cut short when Toad used a large magnet attached to one of the crew's vehicles to incapacitate everyone. Even then, I think this was one of the most beautiful mutant duels we've seen in ages.
God, I love this part.
Pyro. John Allardyce, also known as Pyro, was a mutant with pyrokinetic powers and a member of Cassandra Nova's crew in the Void. Despite being her second in command, he secretly resented Nova and wanted to escape from her clutches. Initially in the film, Pyro comes off as a cocky prick who is confident in his abilities, and he demonstrated this when he easily absorbed the Human Torch's flames in the desert, knocking Storm completely unconscious. Although he worked for Nova in the Void, Pyro always felt like she mistreated him and burdened him with tiresome tasks, which annoyed the living hell out of him. As a result, Pyro made a deal with a Time Variance Authority agent, Paradox, becoming a sleeper agent and informant. He basically betrayed Nova in exchange for the promise of his eventual freedom from his godforsaken reality. Later, during confrontation with Deadpool, Wolverine, and the Resistance, Pyro tried to assassinate Nova, but his attempt failed. If you've not figured it out yet, it was Pyro's tendency to betray others that eventually led to his downfall. After his failed attempt to kill Cassandra Nova, he quickly told her of Paradox's plans because once faced with imminent danger, Pyro's cockiness vanished, revealing a coward who would betray anyone to save himself. But still, once Nova realizes how he has been conspiring against her, she gets her nifty little fingers on him and then kills him right in front of Mr. Paradox after arriving in Deadpool's universe. Toad. Mortimer Toynbee is a mutant with amphibian-like abilities, which is why he is called Toad. He was another minor villain who was killed off in the early 2000s X-Men and became a part of Cassandra Nova's crew in Deadpool and Wolverine. First seen as a part of Nova's scouting party, Toad meets his end in the third act of the film when Deadpool and his new friends Elektra, Gambit, X-23, and Blade launch an attack on Nova's base. Here, the long-tongued Toad makes a brief appearance, returning with his signature disgusting combat style using its long tongue for violence under Nova's command. Lady Deathstrike. Another one of Cassandra Nova's mutant minions, Lady Deathstrike had actually appeared as a villain in X2 X-Men United and was killed by Wolverine in the Fox film. In Deadpool and Wolverine, she is one of the many background characters at Nova's headquarters. Here, Lady Deathstrike is famous for her long adamantium nails and does not talk or do much other than fighting when it is needed. In fact, they did not even give the poor woman a single dialogue. Azazel. So Azazel has appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before and played a small role in X-Men First Class. In case you missed out, he was the red demon-looking guy with a pointy tail who may be somehow related to Nightcrawler. Azazel only makes a couple of brief appearances as one of Nova's mutant minions in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like his other teammates, Azazel meets his end when the Resistance attacks on Nova's base. As an evil member of the Brotherhood of Mutants, Azazel is a demon-looking killer who can teleport with ease. Even if we never hear him say a word in the film, we do get to see him teleport around during the last showdown at Nova's base. As he engages in a power-packed combat with Blade in the battle, Azazel finally meets his end.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut!
Juggernaut. Previously, the unstoppable Juggernaut was one of Magneto's foot soldiers in 2006 X-Men The Last Stand, but in Deadpool and Wolverine, Juggernaut first appears when Deadpool, Wolverine, and Johnny are captured by Pyro and the rest of Nova's scouting party. Kane Marco, aka Juggernaut, probably joined Nova's team right after he was banished to the Void. Once Cassandra Nova kills Johnny Storm after Deadpool reveals all the insults Johnny had said about her, she then plans to sacrifice Deadpool and Wolverine to Alioth for her amusement, although they somehow managed to escape. After learning from the Resistance that Cassandra killed Magneto and destroyed his helmet, Deadpool decides to use Juggernaut's helmet to subdue her. Now, Juggernaut's helmet could nullify psychic abilities irrespective of how powerful they are, thus making him the main target for the Resistance during their attack on Nova's compound. In the fight, Laura, or X-23, used her adamantium claws to cut off Juggernaut's feet, causing him to lose balance and fall. X-23 then decapitated him, removed his helmet, and sent it to Deadpool and Wolverine. Although Wolverine and Deadpool do manage to trap Cassandra with a helmet, they remove it after Pyro shoots her. Both of them needed her mind to work if they were to go home with Juggernaut's helmet on her head. Nova would have died from the bullet wounds given that he neutralized her powers, thus preventing her body from healing any of the wounds.
What can you do? So, you have talent.
Kalisto. Kalisto once led a whole team of outcast mutants known as the Omegas, but in the Void, she was just another one of Cassandra Nova's minions. There is not much to talk about her, as Kalisto is nothing more than a background character in Deadpool and Wolverine, but this is her first appearance ever since she was seen in X-Men: The Last Stand. But sadly, you can barely spot Kalisto as she does not have much of a prominent role in the film. Just like every one of Cassandra's evil mutants, she too gets killed off by the Resistance in the movie's third act. Bullseye. Another one of Nova's mutant minions is a Bullseye variant who first appeared when Toad, Pyro, and some other villains brought in Deadpool, Wolverine, and Johnny to their tyrannical leader. While he is not the one played by Colin Farrell in the 2003 Daredevil movie or Wilson Bethel from Netflix's Daredevil show, this Bullseye variant can be seen lingering in the background of some scenes until, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine return with the Resistance and he gets killed off during the ensuing big battle at Nova's headquarters. Psylock. Elizabeth Bessie Braddock, who is popularly known as Psylock in the comics, is actually a mutant with the ability to manipulate psionic energy. After she was banished to the Void, Psylock eventually became a part of Cassandra Nova's crew of evil marauders. In the third part of the film, during the battle at Nova's base, she had a brief fight with Laura, but was ultimately killed by Elektra. Apart from these notable characters whose presence was obvious to any longtime Marvel fans, we saw many other mutants in Cassandra's team of evil minions. Russian, Blob, and Quill are three other faces we saw in the battle at Nova's headquarters, but they had no dialogue or even a prominent role other than to fight, only to get killed by the members of the Resistance. With that being said, we've come to the end of this video. I know that there's not a lot we see in Cassandra Nova's amazing team, but we get some banger supervillain cameos, and really, it was just exhilarating watching these guys make a comeback, even if it was for a second. Now, do you think Cassandra Nova and her crew should get their own Marvel movie that fully goes on to cover the Void? Let us know about your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. If you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.